Tyler Van Dyke, thing that stood out to me, he loves Shannon Dawson's new offense. And it's not just a matter of, hey, paying lip service. This is my new offensive coordinator. I got to say nice things about the guy, yada, yada, yada. There's an important element of that offense that Tyler Van Dyke loves. It's the freedom that quarterbacks have in the offense, right? Talking about checking from a run play to a pass play and vice versa, having that sort of freedom. And yes, the results have been there. Just a year ago in the Shannon Dawson offense at Houston, they had a 4,000-plus yard passer in Clayton Tune. Van Dyke talked about that, over 4,000 passing yards in that offense just a year ago. So that's the sort of freedom and that's the sort of autonomy to make those calls that Tyler Van Dyke appreciates about this offense. And he's been very studious with it. We started hearing about this basically from the minute that Shannon Dawson arrived, that Van Dyke quickly dove headfirst into learning that playbook and learning that offense. And it's important for your starting quarterback to be ahead of the curve on that because he can make that learning curve easier for his teammates. And that's something that Van Dyke is taken very seriously. So he loves the autonomy and freedom in that offense. And he also loves the fact that it's his job to put the ball in the hands of his playmakers, he said. And yeah, he's got more playmakers this year on paper than he did last year. When you add guys like Tyler Harrell and Shamar Kirk into the mix, and you add A.J. Allen and Mark Fletcher and Chris Johnson to your running back stable, and hopefully a healthy, as we talked about, a healthy Elijah Arroyo at tight end, and Jaleel Skinner, and the young tight ends you added, and Cam McCormick, who's a human blocking machine. So Van Dyke is really excited to run this Shannon Dawson offense. He was asked, was Van Dyke, if he hears from some of the former great quarterbacks at the University of Miami. And he mentioned he hears from a lot of them, but the only specific name that he dropped, which is a good name to drop, is Bernie Kosar. He says he hears most from Bernie Kosar, Miami's original national championship winning quarterback. And he says Kosar calls him a lot, texts him a lot, gives him great advice, which is great to hear. As far as what Van Dyke has been working on in this offseason, I was interested to hear his answer on that because it wasn't necessarily what I expected. But Van Dyke says that a part of his game he's really working on is his mobility in the pocket, right? I don't think he's going to become Lamar Jackson overnight or anything like that. Van Dyke moves instinctively. He's not the quickest guy on the field. But talking about that mobility in the pocket, I think that's going to go a long way. Don't expect him to become Michael Vick or anything like that. But obviously in today's college football, your quarterback shouldn't be a statue. And Van Dyke wants to become less of a statue, which is cool to hear that he's been working on that. He says, I think I've improved that a lot. He says, this day and age, you have to use your feet a little bit more. No kidding, TVD. So that's good stuff.